You ever get stuck in one of those situations where you just have to work with someone
Oh, yeah.
and you don't see eye to eye with them at all?
Ugh. Tell me about it.
Right? Like it could be at work,
Mm-hmm.
a colleague, or, even someone in your family,
Yeah.
or just someone you're negotiating with and you're just butting heads.
I know exactly what you mean.
And you're just like, ugh, is there some kind of playbook I can use?
Yeah, like a cheat sheet for these awkward collaborations.
Exactly.
I feel that.
Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Okay, hit me.
Adam Kahan's Collaborating with the Enemy.
Interesting choice. What's the angle?
Well, Kahane, he spent like decades helping people work together.
Oh, wow. So he knows his stuff.
He does, and we're talking some seriously intense situations.
Like what?
Post-apartheid South Africa.
Oh, wow.
The Colombian Civil War, I mean,
Yeah, that's heavy duty.
the real deal, so.
So he's worked with some real enemies then.
Right. But here's what got me.
What's that?
He doesn't just focus on those huge global conflicts.
Okay.
He brings it down to earth,
How?
like our everyday lives.
Okay.
He calls it the enemifying syndrome.
Enemifying.
Yeah, enemifying. It's like this, and this is what's wild, it's almost unconscious.
Yeah.
Like we just slip into it.
Into what?
This like us versus them mindset,
Okay.
even when like logically we should be on the same side.
Oh, I see. So it's like that instinct to draw a line in the sand.
Exactly. And sometimes it feels like it's getting worse.
Right. It's everywhere you look.
It's everywhere you look.
People digging in their heels.
Mhm.
Like everyone's just itching for a fight.
Yeah, and then it becomes harder and harder to find that like common ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more divided we are, the harder it gets to actually solve the problems.
It's a vicious cycle.
It really is.
So, like, if it's getting tougher to collaborate, especially with people we might even see as, like, the enemy,
Right.
are we doomed?
Well, I mean, is there any hope?
Is there any hope for us to actually work together and get things done?
I mean, that's a big question, right? I think that's what we're all grappling with these days.
Totally. And that's where Kahan's work, it gets really interesting.
Okay, how so?
He doesn't sugarcoat things.
Really? So he's straight up about it.
He's straight up, he actually says that, straight up collaboration, not always the best solution.
Whoa, okay, so he's not just a collaboration cheerleader.
No, he's not. He's like, sometimes other approaches might be more effective.
Interesting. So it's more nuanced than just saying we all need to sing Kumbaya.
Much more. It really depends on, what's going on.
The context.
The context, exactly.
I like that. So it's not one size fits all.
Nope. And it made me think of that example in the book
Which one?
with, remember John and Mary?
Oh, yeah.
Trying to figure out how to help their son Bob, who's like,
Struggling financially.
struggling, yeah.
I think we've all been there.
Totally. So relatable, right? Trying to help a loved one,
But you don't want to...
but you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you don't want to make it worse.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is. And so they've got these options, right?
Blame on me.
And each option, it's like there's consequences.
Okay.
So do they just adapt to the situation?
Oh.
Maybe offer a little support here and there?
Right.
Or do they try to force Bob
Oh.
to like make certain choices?
And then force him.
Yeah, even if it creates a bunch of tension.
I see. So that's the control approach.
Yeah, or the tough love approach. Or do they cut him off completely?
Oh, wow.
Or do they try to collaborate
Right.
and actually try to find a solution that works for everyone?
Yeah. So those are the four options. Adapt, force, cut off, collaborate.
And none of them are perfect.
It's like there's always a trade-off.
Always a trade-off.
It's so hard to know what the right answer is.
So hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's the human condition, right?
It is.
Trying to figure out the best way to navigate these tricky situations.
Totally.
And that's where Kahane introduces this framework. Okay, tell me more.
So he was working in Thailand,
Okay.
and he developed this idea that we can adapt,
Oh, God.
force, or collaborate.
I like that.
And he makes it really clear. Each approach,
Yeah.
it has its strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it's about picking the right approach for the situation.
So important.
It is, because there's no magic bullet.
And that's what I was thinking about
What's that?
with like those enemy situations. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like sometimes trying to force our viewpoint
It can backfire.
backfire big time and then adapting.
You might just be delaying the inevitable.
Prolonging the problem.
Exactly.
So when is collaboration
Yeah.
really the right call?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is. And I think that's...
And that's where Kahane really gets into what
Yeah.
he calls conventional collaboration
Oh, okay.
versus stretch collaboration.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so conventional collaboration. That's like, what we picture sitting around the table.
Trying to find a compromise.
Yeah,
And kumbaya,
right.
everyone's happy, that kind of thing.
But stretch collaboration.
Now, that's different.
So what's different about it?
Well, it starts with acknowledging that real collaboration,
Yeah.
especially with people we might see as enemies,
Yeah.
it asks us to stretch beyond our comfort zones.
Okay, so it's not going to be...
Yeah, it's getting messy.
It's going to be messy.
You're going to disagree. There might not even be one right answer.
You're really challenging the way we think about this.
Well, because I think we often approach collaboration with this idea that it's going to be neat and tidy and everyone's going to come out feeling good.
And there's going to be a solution.
Yeah, but real life.
Everyone agrees.
Real life is just not like that.
It's just not.
Especially when you're dealing with people who you might see as enemies.
Right.
So stretch collaboration is about
Okay.
embracing the messiness, the disagreements,
Yeah.
and even the possibility that there might not be one right answer.
Okay, so it's not about smoothing things over or pretending
No, no, no.
that everything's fine.
It's about getting real.
And just acknowledging those differences.
Yeah.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Because that's where the real work begins.
Oh, I love that.
Right. And it's also about
And it's about letting go, right?
letting go of the need to control everything.
Yes.
Because we can't.
You can't. Yeah.
Right. And Kahane uses a great example.
Oh, tell me.
Susan Jones. She's a hospital CEO.
Okay.
And she's trying to lead this big transformation project.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes those classic mistakes.
Like what?
Assuming she has all the answers.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to force change through, believing there's only one right way to do things.
I've so been there.
We all have. It's like trying to jam a square peg into a round hole.
And getting more and more frustrated.
The harder you push.
It's a trap.
It is a trap. And it highlights a shift in Kahan's own thinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was trained as a problem solver.
Okay.
So he was always looking for the solution.
Yeah, like that one answer.
The answer, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But through his work in these, complex situations, he realized it's not about finding the answer.
So what is it about?
It's about navigating the unknown together.
That's such a different way of looking at it.
It is, because it's a journey.
It is a journey.
And you don't know what the destination is going to be.
And you don't know.
But you have to trust the process.
Trust the process.
And trust the people you're with.
Okay, so how does stretch collaboration look different in practice?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, let's go back to John and Mary.
Oh.
So if they're using this stretch collaboration, how are they approaching Bob differently?
Well, imagine them sitting down with Bob.
Okay.
Not to lecture him or tell him what to do.
Right, not that tough love.
No tough love.
Okay.
But to really understand where he's coming from.
Okay.
To get his perspective.
So like active listening?
Active listening, empathy.
Okay.
And being willing to hear things that they might not want to hear.
They might have some heated discussions.
They might.
They might.
But they're staying connected as a family.
Right, still that connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're willing to try things out.
Experiment.
Knowing that there's no guaranteed solution.
Right.
But with the commitment to, adjust and adapt as they go along.
That feels so different from the way we're often taught to approach these situations.
Because we're taught to control.
We're taught to control, to have the right answer to fix it.
And this is about letting go of that.
Letting go.
And being willing to be surprised.
I mean, that feels like a huge shift.
It is a huge shift.
It's not about changing each other.
No.
It's like changing yourself.
Yes. And how you approach the situation.
So true.
And that brings us to one of Kahan's big points.
Okay, tell me.
Conflict and connection. Both are essential.
Both are essential.
Yeah.
Okay.
He tells this story about a project in Guatemala. And there's this powerful moment of silence.
Okay.
It happened after someone shared this, really intense story.
Oh, wow.
About exhuming a mass grave.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was a moment of deep connection.
Wow.
But it also led to some realizations for Kahan.
Oh, what kind of realizations?
He realized that focusing only on, harmony and dialogue can sometimes mask deeper issues.
So you might not be getting to the heart of the matter?
Exactly. You might be papering over cracks.
Interesting.
Yeah, he shares this anecdote about Clara Arenas.
Okay.
Who pushed back against dialogue-only approaches.
Why?
She felt like they were silencing dissent.
Wow. So just focusing on getting along
Yeah.
can actually prevent people from...
Absolutely, speaking their truth.
Yeah, because if you're only allowed to speak when you agree...
Then are you really collaborating?
Exactly.
I've been in so many situations where I felt that pressure...
Oh, tell me about it.
To be harmonious, even when I really disagreed.
Yeah, it's like you're forced to smile and nod, but inside you're screaming. Exactly.
And that's not helpful for anyone.
And it can actually be harmful.
It can.
Because you're not actually addressing the issue.
And it erodes trust.
Yeah, it does.
Because people can sense when you're not being genuine.
So Kahane's saying even if it's tough, honesty is crucial.
Honesty is key.
Okay, so not avoiding conflict.
Yeah.
But like...
embracing it.
embracing it.
In a way that allows for genuine connection and progress.
I don't know, it's like a dance.
Ooh.
You're moving together.
Yeah.
Even when you're stepping on each other's toes sometimes.
Love that analogy. And actually, Kahane,
oh, really?
he uses the metaphor of a dance.
He does?
He does, to describe stretch collaboration.
Oh, I like that.
Because it's not a rigid pose.
Right, it's this fluid back and forth.
It's fluid, it's dynamic.
Okay, tell me more about this dance.
It's a dance of power and love.
Power and love.
Yeah, power and love.
Okay, break that down for me.
So power is that drive towards self-realization. And that's expressed as asserting our needs, our perspectives.
Okay, making your voice heard.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then love.
Love, yeah.
That's the drive towards unity.
Unity, coming together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's expressed as engaging with others, looking for that common ground.
Okay, so it's not power versus love.
No.
It's both.
It's both. And we need both.
We need both.
But the key is to alternate them.
Like breathing in.
Like breathing in and breathing out.
In and out?
Yeah, you can't just inhale all the time.
Right, you'll pass out.
You need to exhale too.
You need both?
You need both to survive.
So it's not about choosing power or love.
Yep.
It's about finding that balance.
Finding that rhythm.
The rhythm of the dance.
Yes.
How do we do that, though?
Well, he calls these forces polarities.
Okay.
Meaning you can't have one without the other.
They need each other.
They do. They're interconnected.
Oh, I'm trying to picture this dance.
Yeah, it's like a tango.
Oh.
There's passion. There's intensity. But there's also connection.
That closeness.
And when we overengage...
like too much love.
Too much love, it could become manipulative.
Oh, interesting.
Right. It's all about keeping the peace at any cost.
Yeah, like sweeping things under the rug.
Yeah, and that's not healthy.
No, not healthy.
And then when we overassert...
too much power.
Too much power, it can turn into forcing our will on others.
Yeah.
Which is also not good.
Not good.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
That balance.
That rhythm in the dance.
Yeah, but that sounds so hard.
It is hard.
Like, how do you actually do that?
Well, Kahane says it's something we discover through practice.
Okay.
Through trying and failing and trying again.
So trial and error.
Trial and error, exactly.
It's like learning a new skill.
It is. You're not going to get it right away.
We're going to stumble.
But the more you practice, the better you get at it.
He uses that example.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
The drug policy project that he worked on in the Americas.
Tell me more.
And he was working with the Organization of American States.
The OAS, yeah.
And they were very much like formal negotiations.
Right, very by the book.
Yeah.
And that clashed with Kahane's approach.
They butted heads a little bit.
Yeah, there's some friction.
But that friction led to a breakthrough.
Right.
Okay, how so?
Instead of trying to find the solution to the drug problem, they shifted.
Okay.
To creating
scenarios.
Yeah, like exploring all these different possible futures.
So not just one right answer.
Not one, no.
But multiple possibilities.
Yeah, what if this happens?
Okay.
What if that happens?
That's interesting.
And that opened up options that they hadn't even thought of before.
That's amazing.
So they went from gridlock
to
this more like generative, creative space.
So the conflict actually...
it pushed them forward.
So
it's like not just accepting the uncertainty.
Right. But using it.
Yeah, using it as fuel.
Like fuel for creativity. I love that.
And it reinforces this idea of experimentation. Yeah, discovering the path by walking it.
Instead of trying to map it all out in advance.
Exactly. Because the map is going to change.
It's going to change. The territory is always changing.
Always changing. So you got to be adaptable.
Okay, so embracing the messiness.
Yeah.
Experimenting our way forward.
Yeah, that's a big part of stretch collaboration.
Letting go of control.
Letting go of control.
And what's that other thing that we do?
When things get stuck.
Yeah.
Oh, we blame others.
It's
so easy to do.
It's so easy. It's like, well, if only they would change.
Yeah, if only they would see things my way.
Then everything would be fine.
Right. But Kahane challenges us to look inward.
Okay, I like that.
He tells a story about his own failure.
Oh, he admits to failure.
He does. It's refreshing.
It is, yeah.
It was a project in India.
Okay.
Called the Bhavisha Alliance. And the team's work.
Yeah.
It got rejected by the bosses.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a huge disappointment.
I can imagine. After all that effort.
It was heartbreaking for everyone involved.
That's so tough.
And Kahane says he was initially just spiraling in blame.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling frustrated and angry.
Yeah, like, why did they do this to us?
They worked so hard.
We were so close.
They don't get it.
Yeah.
But then he had a turning point.
Okay, tell me.
He read this quote by Martin Buber.
Oh, Buber, yeah.
And it just shifted his whole perspective.
Oh, what's the quote?
Buber wrote, "The real struggle is not between right and wrong, but between the real and the unreal."
That's deep.
It is deep.
Okay, so how did that change Kahane's thinking?
Well, he realized he was so focused on proving he was right
Oh, yeah.
that he'd lost sight of what was actually
He
happening.
was attached to his own ideas.
So
and
attached
to the outcome.
Yeah, and to the outcome.
Yeah.
And he'd forgotten about the bigger picture.
So it was a bit of an ego check.
It was a big ego check.
And it's so easy to get caught up in that.
It is.
Especially when you're passionate about something.
Absolutely. You want to be right.
And you believe in what you're doing.
But sometimes that can blind us.
Blind us to the reality of the situation.
Exactly.
So that quote from Buber, it's about letting go of the ego.
Yes. And that need to be right.
And focusing on what's actually true.
What's real.
Yeah.
And that's where the real shift happens.
Because then you can start to see things more clearly.
Yes. And you can start to see the other person's perspective.
And then you can actually start to collaborate.
Exactly. Because collaboration isn't about winning.
No, it's about finding a way forward together.
Together. Even with your enemies.
Even with your enemies.
Yeah, because sometimes your enemies
Yeah.
can be your greatest teachers.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
And I think it's a good place to leave it for today. We'll pick up on that thread next time.
Looking forward to it. It's humbling, isn't it? To
Yeah.
realize that sometimes we're the ones standing in our own way.
Absolutely. And there's another gem from the book.
Oh, yeah.
Kahane's colleague, Arun Mehra.
I remember him, yeah.
Wise guy, right? He said, and I love this one,
What'd he say?
don't take things so personally.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's easy to get wrapped up in the emotions.
Especially when it's high stakes.
It's like your whole identity is on the line.
Totally.
But Mara's saying, step back.
Detach.
Detach, yeah. Don't get so caught up in being right.
You miss the bigger picture.
Exactly, and that's a tough one, I'll admit.
Because our egos love to get involved.
Well, they too.
Don't they?
They love a good fight.
So as we're talking, I keep thinking about
What's that?
those 3 stretches.
Oh, yeah, from the book.
Yeah, Kahane lays them out.
He does. Like the foundation of stretch collaboration.
Right, like what you need to do internally.
Yeah, to become a better collaborator.
Especially with those folks we might consider
Optimize, yeah.
the enemies. Yeah, can we break those down a bit?
Sure, so the first stretch, embracing both conflict and deconnection.
That's a tough one because
Because we're told to avoid conflict.
yeah, especially like in a work setting.
Don't rock the boat.
Yeah, be nice, play nice.
But Kahan's saying lean in.
Yeah, but not in a confrontational way.
Right, not picking a fight.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging the disagreements.
Right, but also staying connected.
Yes, exactly. Remember that dance we talked about?
Oh, right, power and love.
Power and love,
Yeah.
yeah, asserting your needs.
But also engaging with the other side.
Finding that common ground is a balancing act.
What about the second stretch? Experimenting a way forward.
Ooh, that one resonates with me.
Because we love a good plan, right?
We do. We like to feel in control.
So what's Kahane saying about that?
He's saying, with these complex situations,
Yeah.
trying to create the perfect plan.
Right, like dotting all the I's.
It sets you up for disaster.
Because
Because things change.
they always do.
They always do. Unexpected stuff pops up.
And if you're too rigid, you can't adapt.
Exactly. You got to be like water.
Flowing around those obstacles.
Exactly. It's more like, remember that analogy from the book?
Crossing the river by feeling the stones.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, so being adaptable.
Iterative, experimental,
Trying things out, seeing what works.
and being willing to course correct.
I like that.
Okay, third stretch, stepping into the game.
That's the responsibility one, right?
It is owning your part,
Even when it's hard.
even when it's uncomfortable.
And it sounds like Buber's quote really applies here.
About the real versus the unreal,
Right, not getting caught up in who's right or wrong.
focusing on what's actually happening, your role in it.
And that's empowering, isn't it?
It is, because you realize you're not a passive observer.
Right, you're an active participant.
You have agency. I like that word, agency. You can make choices.
You're not waiting for someone else to fix it.
You're part of the solution.
Exactly. And you know what I appreciate about Kahane?
What's that?
He doesn't just talk about these concepts. Yeah, he gives you tools
He gives you tools, exercises.
to actually put them into practice.
I know. And they're surprisingly simple.
But powerful, right?
Powerful. Like that one where you describe a stuck situation.
Oh, I remember that one from both perspectives.
Yeah, first like an observer.
Like a fly on the wall.
Exactly, just listing what everyone else needs to do to change.
Like they're the problem.
Right, and then the second description,
You put on a different hat.
you become a participant, and you list what you can do differently.
Oh, I like that. It shifts the focus.
It does, right. It's like, wait a minute.
I have some responsibility here.
Exactly, and then he takes it even further.
How so?
He has you list all the actions you're currently taking.
Okay.
And decide if they're coming from that observer perspective.
Oh, interesting.
Or the participant perspective.
So you're becoming aware of
patterns.
Yeah, like when you're trying to control versus actually participating.
It's illuminating, isn't it?
It is. It's like shining a light on those unconscious habits.
And once you see them,
you can start to shift them.
And that's where the real magic happens.
That internal shift.
Exactly, because it changes everything.
It changes how you show up.
How you interact with the world.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. And there's another exercise I wanted to mention.
Oh, which one?
Because it's something I personally struggle with.
Okay, tell me.
Kahane talks about the different ways we talk and listen.
Oh, yeah, and how that can help or hinder collaboration.
Right, you remember the 4 modes?
Downloading, debating, dialoguing, and...
Presencing.
Presencing, yes.
I gotta admit, I'm a champion downloader sometimes.
Oh, me too. Sometimes I just gotta get my opinion out there.
But seriously, being aware of these modes is crucial.
Because it changes how we interact.
Completely.
Okay, so remind me. Downloading, that's like...
stating facts or opinions without really listening.
Oh, yeah, like you're just talking AT someone.
Not with them, exactly.
Okay, and debating.
That's when you listen to judge.
Oh, right.
Figure out who's right, who's wrong.
It's adversarial.
It is very much us versus them.
Which is not helpful when you're trying to collaborate.
Not at all. It just creates more division.
So both of those modes are about...
reinforcing your own perspective.
Not about understanding.
Not about understanding the other side.
And the other two, dialoguing and presencing.
That's where the good stuff happens.
The magic.
So dialoguing, that's about listening to understand.
Really trying to see things from their point of view.
Asking questions, exploring different perspectives, finding common ground.
And presencing, that one's always felt a little...
mystical.
Yeah, a little woo-woo.
It can be, but it's about tapping into a deeper level of awareness.
Okay.
Both within yourself and in the situation as a whole.
Like sensing what wants to happen.
Yes, what's trying to emerge.
It sounds like it requires a lot of...
openness.
Openness, yeah.
And letting go of control.
So how do we actually cultivate those higher levels of talking and listening?
Well, Kahane suggests becoming aware of which mode you're in.
Oh, okay, so like checking in with yourself.
Exactly. Am I downloading, debating, dialoguing, presencing?
And if you notice yourself downloading or debating,
take a step back.
Try to shift into dialoguing or presencing.
Exactly. It takes practice, like any skill.
But with awareness and intention,
you can start to change your communication pattern.
And become a better collaborator.
Yes, and I think that's what's so profound about this whole approach.
It's not just about changing the situation.
It's about changing yourself.
It's inner work.
Inner work, exactly.
Which then ripples out into the world.
Exactly,
yeah.
And it allows you to show up differently.
Especially in those tough situations.
Those enemies.
Speaking of enemies, there's that line in the book that I can't get out of my head.
Oh, which one?
Your enemies can be your greatest teachers.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It seems so counterintuitive, doesn't it?
It does, but Kahane's saying...
like those difficult relationships, the ones that challenge us.
Those are the ones that offer the most potential for growth.
It's like you're holding up a mirror.
Showing us our blind spots.
Pushing us to evolve.
Exactly. And it's not about condoning their behavior.
Right. It's not about saying what they're doing is okay.
It's about recognizing the opportunity they're presenting.
To learn and grow.
To become a better version of ourselves.
I love that shift. It's not seeing them as the problem.
It's seeing them as a catalyst for transformation.
That's powerful.
It is, because it takes away the blame.
The resentment.
The feeling of being stuck.
It's like, okay, this person's challenging me.
But maybe that's exactly what I need right now.
Just stretch and grow.
Exactly, and it's not easy.
No, it takes work.
It takes humility.
Patience.
A willingness to let go of our ego.
But the rewards can be huge. You know, as we wrap up this section on collaborating with the enemy,
yeah,
I keep thinking about how overwhelming it can feel.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Like, okay, the theory's great.
But how do I actually do this?
In my real life, with real people.
Right. It's one thing to read about it.
But to actually put it into practice.
That's the challenge.
So what advice would you give our listener?
I think Kahane would say, start small.
Okay, I like that.
Pick one situation
What situation, yeah.
where you're feeling stuck.
Okay.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
a conflict at work.
Or a disagreement with a family member.
Or even just a negotiation that's not going your way.
Okay, so something specific.
Yeah, and then try applying some of these stretches.
Just experiment.
Experiment, see what happens.
So instead of trying to change the whole world,
Right.
change one small interaction.
Exactly, and be curious.
Oh, I like that.
Notice what happens when you shift your communication style.
Okay.
When you try to embrace both conflict and connection.
Mm-hmm.
When you step into the game and take responsibility.
It's like treating those interactions as little experiments.
Yes, little laboratories for growth.
I love that.
Because it's in those small moments
Yeah.
that we can start to create real change.
So powerful.
It is, and it's amazing how even small shifts in our own behavior
Can have a ripple effect.
They can. They ripple out and affect the people around us.
It's like that butterfly effect.
Exactly. You never know what impact you might have.
It's like be the change, right?
Yeah, but start small.
Start small, one interaction at a time.
You know, one thing that really struck me about the book,
What's that?
it's not just about, like, techniques or strategies. It's deeper.
Okay.
It's a mindset shift.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like really recognizing that even our enemies,
Yeah.
they have something to teach us.
It's that line, right? Your enemies can be your greatest teachers.
That's the one. It's mind-blowing.
It is. But the more I think about it,
Yeah.
the more it makes sense.
It's true. The people who challenge us the most,
Yeah.
who really push our buttons,
They force us to grow.
they do. They force us to confront those parts of ourselves
Yeah.
that we'd rather not look at.
The blind spots.
The blind spots, exactly.
It's like they're holding up a mirror.
Yeah, and saying, hey, look at this.
You might want to work on this.
And it's not about liking them.
Right. Not about agreeing with them.
No, it's about recognizing the opportunity.
The opportunity. Okay.
Yeah, the opportunity to learn and grow.
To become better versions of ourselves.
Exactly.
Because of them. Because of those enemies.
Because of the friction, the challenge.
I like that. It's a shift.
It is a shift.
It takes the blame away.
It does.
The resentment.
Yeah, all that negativity.
It's like, okay, this person's challenging me,
Hmm.
but maybe that's what I need
to level up.
to level up. Exactly.
That's not easy, though.
No, it takes a lot of humility.
Humility, patience, and a willingness to let go of the ego.
Which is hard.
It is, but the rewards are worth it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into collaborating with the enemy,
Mm.
what's the one thing you really hope our listener takes away?
I hope they feel empowered.
Empowered. Okay.
Yeah, to face those tough situations.
The ones that we've all been talking about.
Yeah, but with more curiosity.
Ooh, I like that.
With more openness. Seeing the potential for growth.
Even in those moments that feel really hard.
Especially in those moments. Because that's where the gold is.
That's where the magic happens.
That's where the transformation happens.
I love that. And I would add this.
Yeah.
Remember those 3 stretches?
Oh, yeah, those are crucial.
Embrace conflict, indie connection, experiment your way forward, and step into the game.
Take responsibility.
Own your part. These are powerful tools.
They are. They can help you transform any situation.
Even those that feel like battles.
Exactly. Because sometimes you have to fight for what you believe in.
But fight strategically, fight collaboratively.
Fight with love, even.
I like that. Fight with love. So wherever you are today,
Mhm.
facing whatever challenges,
Big or small.
remember you have the power to choose.
To choose your response.
To choose how you show up.
You can see enemies.
Or you can see teachers.
You can stay stuck.
Or you can stretch and grow.
The choice is yours.
It really is. That's a great reminder.
So keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep diving deep.
See you next time.